We're going to start this episode before we get into the shenanigans that we usually do, talking about somebody awesome, somebody great, somebody powerful that left this earth, the powerful Norm Mcdonald. Now, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people know about him, but if you're a fan of dark humor, comedy, that was Norm, man. I'm a big fan of late night shows. Johnny Carson, David Letterman. I've been to a Jimmy Kimmel show. I love when they do interviews. And as Johnny Carson had the late, great Mr. Warmth, Don Rickles, David Letterman had Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald was an absolute freaking legend. If you got his jokes, you understood. A lot of us have kind of adopted the sense of humor that Norm Macdonald has had, and he was just a generational talent, man. Even his stuff with Conan O'Brien, legendary stuff. So it was definitely hard and crushing to me to hear his passing. Just an unbelievable, awesome fucking dude. If there's somebody that wants to know who Norm Macdonald is or wants a joke from Norm Macdonald so you can understand how powerful this guy was, I will say go on YouTube, put in Norm Macdonald moth joke on the Conan O'Brien show. Just listen to it. Absolutely amazing. I know a lot of people are going to remember him for SNL, obviously an SNL alum. His SNL career has always been hilarious, fired at one point because he kept mentioning OJ Simpson. The guy just did not care. He had no filter, but that's what made Norm Macdonald so goddamn amazing. And I tweeted it yesterday. The world got a little bit less funnier losing Norm Macdonald. So rest in peace, Norm. Rossi, I don't know if you have any memories or any callbacks to Norm Macdonald. I know there was that SNL one with Will Ferrell and Jeopardy.
I mean, I was going to say,
classic.
like here's the turd Ferguson,
There you go.
forever.
Just sucks, man. But yeah, rest in peace, Norm. You left an amazing legacy. Again, if you want to listen to joke, the moth joke, YouTube, Norm Macdonald,
It's a good
instant
one.
classic. Let's jump right into the shenanigans, though, my boy. Malignant by James Wan.
Holy shit. 2021 gave us one good thing. They gave us I don't know, it's not a shot against Sir James. I don't know if I would call it a horror movie. It definitely has the aspects and the feel. It was definitely a lot more suspense thriller, which definitely falls in the realm of horror movies and stuff like that. But I will, hands down, once again, 2021, I like a new horror. I'll give it the horror genre name for this statement alone. You know how hard it is for me to enjoy any horror movie that was made after maybe 2004.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's not like a remake that is either really, really good or really, really shitty.
Yeah.
I don't like it, and I always shy away from the PG-13 ones because I don't think they're gonna sell it.
They never deliver.
So this was rated R. James Wan. Most people are already familiar with any of his movies, any of his work. And I'd seen statements, I think it's from him himself, saying he really wanted to get back to the horror genre. That's why he made this movie. And I give it to him. Right off the bat, he got back to it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you want to take it and kind of explain to people. Those of you that, once again, we always say this is going to be a spoiler podcast, like they usually are. Like a lot of the movies that we do review and kind of talk about recently, HBO Go is on there, I believe, until probably the second or third week of October. I think and then it leaves.
And then they take it off. So it's accessible to everybody. Those kind of movies that you can watch at home, we're obviously going to throw in spoilers in there. So this is a spoiler.
We gave you a couple days.
Yeah, there's been a window of time to watch it.
When did it come out?
Friday.
Last Friday?
Yeah.
You had the whole weekend, guys.
Yeah.
So
there was plenty of time to catch up on this movie. Look, man, I'm a huge James Wan fan. I think he's a horror genius. He understands how to take original ideas and turn them into really good movies. I mean, Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring, Dead Silence. This guy, his resume is
shout out to just honorary mention. I don't want to cut you off.
No,
Dead Silence does not get enough.
Really doesn't. It's at this point a cult classic, right? But it doesn't get like enough praise.
But it's not quite there yet.
No,
it's not on like Trick or Treat level. It'll get there in a few more years. I think a lot of people, we're gonna see it. I hope so.
It'll get there. And it's also on HBO Max.
I'll put money on that stock right now.
And
Dead Silence come back.
And I'm always shocked that one doesn't, because it has a lot of things that usually people love in horror movies, and it is directed by James Wan. Obviously, this guy understands horror elements that certain other directors just don't. He gets it. He just knows the formula. Going into Malignant, though, man, I had probably no expectations other than my assumptions from the trailers that didn't really show you much of anything. You can watch those trailers, watch those movies. That movie, it's not even similar whatsoever.
Just off the trailer, real quick. Yeah. What did you think it was going to be?
I honestly thought it was going to be another haunting type of ghost story. I
thought it was Demon. I thought it was Demon.
Okay. Yeah.
I called Demon early on. I'm like, it's going to be something in the house, somebody.
Something.
And they threw some curveballs, but I still was like, yeah, it's a Demon.
It had to be, because I think the only thing I had heard in the trailer was her calling it the devil, and like a lot of things, I was like, oh, so it's just another Insidious vibe type of movie. At least that's what I thought. And a lot of people were complaining about that before the movie released, about how Warner Brothers wasn't really marketing this movie the right way. According to reports, though, James Wan made sure it wasn't marketed that much because he wanted people to experience what this movie truly was. And let me tell you, man, this movie, you think you have it figured out a couple of times, and it just takes every left and right turn that you could imagine. Every time you think you know what they're going to, it ends up at some other place. And every time it does, it's satisfying. Like, it's campy horror. It's very slasher ridden. It's very action packed, which I'm like, oh, James Wan, he went to Aquaman, got all the fighting skills down, brought it into this one, added the horror.
I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah, he added the slasher element, and the whole time you're just perplexed because you don't know what the end game or the conclusion is going to be, and it just keeps on going. It's almost like an acid trip going 1,000 miles per hour because you can't really pinpoint what the movie is. And even when you get the answers, you're still kind of taken aback because you can't really just sit there and be like, oh, wow. They don't give you a chance to soak it in because the last 30 minutes of this movie are just action scenes that just go from 0 to 100 real quick. It's insane.
After thinking that it was a demon, I turned maybe halfway, more so probably. You seen the movie High Tension?
I think so.
It was the two girls. It was like I think it was supposed to be in like some type of like part of Europe or maybe closer to like Germany, something like that. But it was all in a different language. Okay. And the whole thing was these two girls go to the one girl's house, their family. This guy breaks in, kills the whole family, kidnaps the one girl. The other girl goes on and tries to find her, and all this stuff happens. Spoiler, guys. Turns out that not the girl whose family it was, the other one, the friend, is just fucking crazy and is doing all this and has a split personality.
Damn.
And it's this whole like left turn, man. I thought that was the route they were going to. Great movie as well. Check it out. That might be on one of the streaming sites. I gotta check that out, man. Great movie. But I thought they were going that route too. Still, 0-2. I was losing the race. I could not have called it. Still, go ahead and tell the audience what the ending kind of
the payoff to all of it. So this whole entire movie, obviously, you kind of get to the point where you obviously know it's not a spirit or like a ghost or a demon or anything. Or it could have been a demon, but it was the way he moved as well, or she, whatever it is.
Yeah,
it was such a weird way of moving. There's that scene where the cop is chasing him throughout the city. And he's going through like the tunnels, going underneath like the underground of Chicago, or Seattle. I mean, underneath Seattle, and just weirdly moving around. And it was just one of those things where even then I'm trying still to be like, what the fuck is? Even moments where my girl was like, it's an alien, and I'm like, I don't think this is going full sci-fi on us. It's like, because that would be a weird twist. Because even a moment where like sci-fi, nope, wasn't even that either. Maybe in some capacities. We get to the part where, and we'll bring it up because I'm already thinking of the Simpsons connection.
We got
we got to mention that there is a Simpsons connection to this. And me and you brought it up before we even started recording, which is fucking hilarious. It turns out that the girl, and I believe her name was Emily. I may be wrong. Was it Emily?
Oh yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Emily, and she was given up by her mother to like this clinic, which was already the weird part. Because I'm like, if you're giving up a girl to adoption, they don't just end up at some research lab facility. Yeah. And they keep talking about how he's asleep and blah, blah, blah. That he's talking to her and telling her to do bad things. And it's that one shot where the doctor gets up being like, I'm going to wake him up. And they just do the whole freaking turn. and you see this goddamn thing, whatever it was, attached to the back of her. Probably one of the biggest oh shit moments I have had with the movie in a very, very long time. I did not expect it to go there, for it to be attached to her, them doing surgery on her, pushing it inside her skull. You then go all the way back to the beginning of the movie when her abusive baby daddy slams her head against the wall, and that being the moment where the thing awakens. You get the scene right after that where she's in the jail cell. Thought it was a little bit kind of corny and campy that she was just getting jumped for no reason. But the payoff of that, for no reason whatsoever. But that goes back to it just being campy. For her to all of a sudden the thing break out of her head, old school alien style almost, and just run through the entire women in that jail cell with her. I don't think I've had an original movie do that in a very long time. It just, the delivery was phenomenal. It's something you don't expect that he just pulled off. And I'm like, okay, man, like that's awesome. That's really awesome for a director to do.
And that's what's funny again, like definitely campy, but like it was good enough to where I laughed, like in that like weird horror way that I'm just like, I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it's funny. And then I'm still intrigued because I'm like, what? And then I think for me also was jail cell for sure, but then when she's literally like breaking the bones, and like reverting back and puts on the coat and all this, but when it's like showing like the turn, I'm like, dude. And then you see like the weird like mute face, whatever, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, so that's kind of funny too, because I'm just like, all right, man. It's just like this weird, like, I can't describe it, like just like this weird little alien being like, nah, like
that's what it felt like, man. It felt like, honestly,
and that's why like you couldn't help but kind of like chuckle at it, but it didn't make it any less like it's fucking weird. But
that's something that like I love. I love horror movies that make you chuckle a bit, because even like Trick or Treat, which is like you said now such a huge hit after like so many years, you see that character everywhere now. That's a movie that made me chuckle as well many times, just being it's something about horror that you could take it to a place that even if it brings you laughter, it's almost like kind of a nervous laughter where that's your only reaction to pulling off something as ridiculous as a girl having another thing attached to the back of her head that pops out of her back of her skull.
Did you at any time though like think of like South Park also? Like
just hit me right now.
Old nurse.
Yeah, the little yes, dude. Oh shit!
Like it was kind of close. They just tweaked it a little bit.
It's like I want to believe that James Wan got high and he watched that South Park episode, and then he watched the Treehouse of Horror episode of The Simpsons where Bart finds Hugo in the attic.
Oh my god!
I was just like, "There's my next movie." I was like, "I'm ready. Let's roll it up." Aquaman 2 can wait. I'm gonna go make this weird movie about some girl that has some weird creature attached to her head.
And then immediately when we started drawing it to like Simpsons and Hugo, one of my favorite scenes of I think all of Simpsons is just like, no, it's easy. I've been practicing. I made a pigeon rat. You see it fly and then hit the wall.
What's funny is that like you think it's hiding in the attic for like a solid few minutes of the movie, and then when you realize it was just her, she was in the attic trying to kill her biological mother the whole time, and I never understood that. I thought he was just hanging up there. I called it from when he was up there, being like, "That's her house." I just never thought it would end up being that way. And there was moments where I'm like, "That's her brother," or it has to be some kind of relative. But just the way he went about it of delivering that scene, even leaving the door open for a sequel, because I'm just like, motherfucker, how are you gonna do a part 2 of this shit?
Yeah, I'm like,
it feels like the story's done, but then even she has that scene, which is very like Friday the 13th, like Nightmare, being like, when you come back, I'll be ready. I was like, that's so fucking 80s horror right there. That's such an 80s horror line, campy thing that a lot of us loved growing up. And I still love those movies to this day, because even though they're sometimes hard to watch, there's delivery lines like that where you're just like, holy fuck, this makes this horror movie way more better than it should be. James Wan delivered, man. Good for him for being like, hey, man, I made you guys $1 billion with Aquaman. I've made you a shit ton of movies.
Let me have fun.
Yeah, I made you a shit ton of money with the fucking Conjuring and all the other fucking spin-offs that came with. It's like, give me money. Let me make a goddamn original movie and don't fucking market it at all. Drop 2 trailers. That's it. Don't let anybody review it. Don't let anybody talk about it. I'm just gonna drop it, and people know my name by now to be like, this motherfucker knows horror. He knows how to make a good scary movie, and he fucking delivered. I saw a lot of people being like, this movie's a piece of shit. It's awful. And it seems like it's just not their alley of horror movies. And we'll get into that in a bit too when it comes to critics and the way they review horror movies. I could understand some people complaining about bad acting. I thought a lot of the actors weren't great, but I think that helped as well because you don't want a big time actor or actress chewing up scenery because it kind of takes from that moment where I didn't feel really any attachment to any of the characters other than I wanted to fucking know what the hell is going on. So that moment felt even bigger than it was supposed to do. And it's funny because like today we watched Friday the 13th 2. Terrible acting. Still a fucking phenomenal slasher movie. Fucking delivers in every capacity you could want from a horror slasher movie. All the actors and actresses in that movie are god awful and just terrible. But that doesn't take away. That's why none of them
ever continues.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day,
other than Kevin Bacon, that's it.
Yeah, Footloose. That helped his fucking career.
He's the star, man.
He's the star. But again, like a lot of people are complaining about the acting, and I'm just like, it's fine though. Sometimes you need movies like that don't have the giant fucking celebrity that's gonna get all the fucking brand name and the whole like attention. You need some low key people, and that's why I like that James Wan kind of did a callback to like 80s horror. Like this feels like an 80s horror movie that would just come out, and people probably wouldn't talk about it right away, but eventually it'll kind of get like a little bit of a cult following, and everybody will be like, holy shit, that's kind of a fucking trippy movie. And it feels like he's made two of them, like you said, Dead Silence and Malignant, where it's like original idea in a world where Hollywood reboots, remakes, recontinues. It's kind of refreshing to see somebody actually have the balls to be like, I'm making a horror movie and it's going to be about this, and you're going to give me the money and no questions asked, and people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. I fucking loved it. I thought it delivered.
I thought it was good, and I thought it was really good for being released right now. It was definitely probably one of the best original ideas, stories, and newer movies that I've seen in God only knows how long.
Yeah.
Because like I said, every other thing is either a remake or kind of like a new version, whatever.
Or spin-off or some shit.
Yeah. This one was really good. So if he does a sequel to it, all right. I don't think he needs to. It's definitely one that could stand on its own, I think. Even though it leaves the doors open, I think it's still enough to be like, that's fine. You know? Especially when he can go off and do Aquaman and any big fucking budget movie.
Yeah, because he had said so far already that he's saying, according to him, that Aquaman 2 is going to be horror based, which I'm like, okay.
Yeah, which is weird to hear. But
yeah, I don't know how you would take that character to. I mean, there's obviously, forget their damn names. They showed it in the first one, those black creatures that are like underwater that like originally they thought killed his mother, and like she was hiding from them and shit. I forget what their goddamn names are, but they're very horror based. If you see them in the first Aquaman movie, you can see how he could take that and probably turn that into the next movie. But I mean, he, at this point, you can't really question this guy. He understands the concepts, he understands the report, and he gets it. He delivers every time. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a solid 7 out of 10. I thought it was really good.
I think I'd stand by that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good enough to watch. Yeah.
And it's so hard to just sit down and watch movies in general nowadays, even like at the end of the night. But it's harder to watch something new. Like for me at least. Yeah. So like you said already, I saw like the little bits of like trailers for it, but it was never enough. It was always just showing the main character of just dialogue and not knowing what's going on, this and that. So like nothing really piqued my interest of the story, not in a bad way, but nothing like grabbed me like that. It was just, I kept seeing the advertisement on HBO, and finally just the other night I was like, got shit to do. Let's just turn it on and see what happens. And I'm like, glad I turned it on.
Yeah, very watchable. Definitely recommend if you have a chance to watch it. You're especially with the Halloween season being here, and you're just trying to watch something new. Definitely check it out. That brings us to Candyman, the new Candyman. That
you already said it twice, man. Can't say it. Can't say it.
Man,
stop, dude. Tony's coming.
Say a couple more times, and here he comes. I think I read somewhere it's like somebody's gonna say Beetlejuice 3 times and say Candyman 5 times, and just have them fight each other, see which one comes out on top.
Throw down, dude.
Just to throw down.
My money's still on Keith. I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah, honestly, I think me too. I think at the end of the day, Candyman's very easy to kill
Yeah.
if you watch the original. Dude really isn't that all powerful if people make it seem. But man, I'll be honest with you. I had speculations going into this one how they were gonna deliver it. Obviously, everybody's giving Jordan Peele the credit for it. He didn't direct; he just wrote the script for this new Imagine.
He was just there.
He was just there. He just attached
He was
his name
standing.
to it. Just standing around. I liked it. I liked the way they told the story. I originally thought this had nothing to do with the original. I thought from all reports they kind of made it seem like this is going to be its own standalone. And the way the movie starts makes it seem like it's a whole new fucking story of Candyman. But you know, Hollywood, like I've said before, they have to run it back, connect it somehow to the original, and that's exactly what they do. Obviously, if you've seen the original Candyman, you should know the story about that by now, about how things go down there. He takes the baby, the blonde girl, pretty much makes it seem like she's going crazy. She's going to jail and blah, 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 blah. She ends up saving the baby. It's a very quick, quickie notes for the first original Candyman. Well, they run that shit back.
That was it.
That was pretty much it. They run it back with this one, man. Kind of a weird way. Like I said, the beginning is very confusing for the overlay of the entire movie. But I will say the ending definitely delivered, and I like the fact that they brought back, even for like the 3 seconds that he's back in the movie, the fact that they actually brought back CGI, because it obviously was OG Candyman's voice, just for that to be the finish of it. I was like, as if you're a fan, if you're a diehard of that character, which I've really never met anybody that's like a diehard Candyman.
I was gonna say, are there?
Yeah, that's all I'm about to say. Like, you never really hear him mentioned.
I don't even know if Tony Todd's like favorite movie was Candyman.
Shit. But that's what I'm saying. Like, where do you is he top 10 or around
top 10 killers?
Mm.
Are there 10 serial slasher killers?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can make a
He's
list.
He could be number 10 if there is one.
But I think if like you're a hardcore fan, yeah, I mean, I could see there probably has to be somebody that's like, fuck yeah, Candyman.
There's someone.
Yeah, there's somebody out there that loves these
just
movies.
Like you said, I've never met someone.
I've never met anybody
movie
that's like
stands
legit.
Above. Yeah, like
fuck that Freddy shit, man. It was the legit slasher of horror movies, the Candyman.
That terrified the fuck out of me. I'm like, that guy could have just been a normal dude.
Honestly,
bees.
Could have been a beekeeper with a hook.
Other than he could have been a beekeeper who fucking had diabetes and lost his hand. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
He just decided to
takes away the lore of Candyman movies real quick. It's humanizing.
He was a beekeeper with candy and a hook on. It's pretty much that's every bum in
why is he
downtown
why
Los
does he
Angeles.
kill people now? Like,
gotta survive somehow.
Got tired of being nice to the bees. Trained him.
Too many stings, way too many that just threw him over the edge.
Have you heard that story of the original? I think it was the first Candyman. Tony Todd had it in his contract. Every time he got stung by a bee, forget the actual amount. I remember every bee stung was $1,000.
Good for him.
So there was one time he got stung like 25 fucking times. So he just walked away with a bigger check.
25K. He's just like counting it.
Yeah.
Like, every sting is worth it, man. It's like I'm just taking
He's
it for
counting
him,
it while his fucking thumbs are all blistering and shit.
How mad was
he?
He was probably so mad this time, being like, "Oh no, we don't do real bees. We just do CGI bees. Like we don't."
Oh no! You don't even need to come over here.
It's like
we just need you to sign this contract virtually, so we can.
Okay, how funny would it be? Is like, no, I show up with my own beehive. Like this is part of
I have
creative
my
process.
own bees now.
It's like how Jared Leto
trained
the beehive.
I trained a farm of bees. They listen to my commands.
It's like that episode of The Simpsons, bringing it back to The Simpsons, when Homer has like that pile of sugar in the backyard. It just gets like devoured. It's just Candyman with just like a shit ton of just candy, bringing in the bees.
The bees just turn on him.
They just turn on. No, but again, like if you're a fan, and again, like I said, who knows? I'm pretty sure there is somewhere. Then if you like the original source material of what made Candyman, you're gonna enjoy it. I enjoyed it from the aspects of the movie itself. I thought it was funny that it pissed off a lot of the Blue Lives Matter folks that are like, protect our cops, because it's like, this is fucking piece of shit movies being woke. I'm like, so
Candyman doesn't like cops.
It's like, good for him. It's like, he didn't like them in the original either. That's the whole point. It's about a freaking ghost in the projects. What else do you want to be about?
You name me one 80s or like 90s like killer like slasher movie that didn't kill the cop. Can't be done.
That's true. Yeah.
We
What,
can
did
find
Freddy ever
one, but
kill
I want to
cops?
watch it. Fucking better have.
Well, I'm trying to think.
There was one cop that he went to a dream of. They were just like, I don't
Oh
know.
well, yeah. What's the one with Drama Rama song in it? Fuck, which one is it? Dream Warriors, where he kills a homegirl's dad in the grave, in the like fucking car graveyard.
You say Dream Warriors, I just think of the song Dream Warriors, but it's such a good song.
It's that one scene where like they have to like bury him or unbury his body, his skeleton body, and it's like in that like one like car fucking graveyard, and he comes out of the grave.
Been a fucking minute, man.
Right? Yeah, it's like the original Nightmare Girl's dad. Remember, he was a cop.
Yeah. Oh.
And then they bring her back, and they bring him back when they're like looking for him to go dig up his body, and like the skeleton, I think, kills him. If I'm remembering
totally
it right.
Forgot she was in Dream Warrior. No, I think you're right. Again, I just haven't watched that.
No, me neither. I haven't seen all the Freddy movies in a very long time.
See, that's what we'll be late to the party, but eventually, guys, because we say never say never, but maybe we'll get to do like a live one or a watch along one this October season. We'll see. If not, maybe we'll do some late ones after January. Check back with us. We've got interesting news. But no, I don't. Either way, no, I didn't get to see Candyman yet. I read as much as I believe I could have to get the script and everything and get the movie. It sounded good. I heard the reviews and everything. Most people dug it. For what it was, I think out of all the classic remakes they could be making and could have already done, I think they did all right with it, And having the people involved making it, they did, I think already set them apart of being like kids. That's promise. So if they continue it, I don't know. I feel like that's the weird thing about whether it's a remake, sequel, whatever. Nowadays, who knows if they're going to keep it going? Because they could, but then also, are we past the day? And again, you asked, fucking Fast and Furious franchise. I was to say for like horror movies, are we past the point of really, really dragging on the series?
Well, fucking look at
how
The Conjuring.
Far is too far. Very true.
Went too far.
Right? How far is too far? Maybe like 3 or 4. Like, what I mean?
For me, when it comes to horror, I think I'd probably check out after the sequel, because I feel like sequel should just be it. Like, if you gotta continue the story, continue it, but it should not overlap unless you're planning it out so fucking vividly, or like it has to be 3 parts. Then fine. Like the new Halloween movies, I can understand why from the beginning they said it's going to be 3 parts and that's how we're going to do it. So I can respect that. But if you're bringing back something like Candyman, it doesn't have a real payoff to it. I'm like, okay, then the sequel, fine, I can get behind. You go the third route, now you're just egging it on, and hopefully the third one's good. But it's really hard for the third one to ever be great. You know what I mean? Exactly. The sequel usually delivers. The first one's usually, the third one for any franchise, even Star Wars. Like, nobody's ever out there being like, Return of the Jedi is my favorite. Nobody's out there ever saying that. And Godfather 3. No, who the fuck's out there saying Godfather 3 is the best of all 3 of them? The Dark Knight Rises.
You could have said, Godfather 3 right off the bat. I feel like that's honestly, hands down should always be
the go-to example.
Worst fucking third of any franchise ever.
Oh, easily. Yeah, that just completely missed the mark of what that franchise was.
Over Tokyo Drift.
Over Tokyo. But fucking
I love that movie.
And that's the biggest problem with horror movies, where they just try to milk it to the point where you diminish it. Like Paranormal Activity. If it was a one-off, it would have survived better than it is at this point. Like, they're making the 7th one. Yeah. The 7th one comes up this October. 0 trailers, 0 news about it, other than it's rated R, which I'm just like, okay. Little wrinkle to it. I still probably won't watch it, but if it's rated R, I'm like, passable. Supposedly it's a reboot of the franchise, which I'm just like, again, fucking, there's too many of these as it is. Yeah. I think a lot of horror movies, what they miss the mark on, especially if they're original, it's like, it's okay to be a one-off. You're fine with just one movie, and have that director just make a new fucking franchise and just keep continuing their streak if they want to go that way. I don't understand how they can make a sequel of this reboot or returning of Candyman, because I thought homeboy Yaya, who plays Black Manta and Aquaman, I thought he was just going to be Candyman moving forward.
Yeah.
I thought that was the plan. And when he turns into OG Candyman, I'm like, well, then this has to be like, that's it. There can't be part 2, because how are you going to bring back that character when he looked overly CGI'd as it was? If you would have had Yaya just take over as Candyman, then cool, you could probably continue that story and his family and blah blah blah. But now I just don't see the point of doing it. But like you said, once the mark of horror movie sequels, it should be just be a sequel, and that's it. Don't egg it on.
No.
It has no reason to.
There.
Yeah.
No, true. Because I think it's hard to get past that point nowadays enough to even get to a sequel sometimes.
Yeah.
So why kick the fucking horse and turn it down? Like, just fucking
just
Rob Zombie's Halloween sequel.
Like, just been a one-off. Shit, that's another one.
Do this, Rob.
Sequel just went way
that's
too
the
far.
one. That's the one that should not even have a sequel.
That was a one-off type movie that should just ended with the one-off, and then he just went. That's a great example of a director that took a horror franchise and was like, let me go deeper. And then he just went way too fucking deep into the bag of just being like, what if Michael Myers' sister turns into the new Michael Myers? And what if the mother's controlling everything? It's like the mother, or do you just want to give your wife more screen time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was at with
damn it, Rob.
Talking about Halloween.
We already know she's going to be in the Munsters, but
she'll probably be the mom. Let's be honest.
I'm bored.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
She'll be all the characters.
All of them, just every single one. She's grandpa. She's just like, fuck it.
CGI.
Talking about Halloween and Michael Myers or Mikey Myers. Halloween Kills, man. It debuted at some festival. You know how great those are. Reviews, not great. Hasn't been killing it. No pun intended. But here's my thing with that. For everything that I've seen negative about this movie, if you're a fan of the franchise, you're going to love it. Because all the complaints are it's too gory, too many kills, too many flashbacks. And I'm like, you realize it's Michael Myers and it's Halloween. And if that's your complaint, I don't get what the issue is then. Because if that's what fans want, that's what fans are going to get. My biggest thing is the fact that they're saying that there's flashbacks from the first one, which I'm like, okay, interesting.
From the original one?
Yeah.
Like not the fucking prequel, sequel bullshit.
No, from the 84 original Halloween.
I mean, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, if it makes sense and it works, okay. And again, that's been the payoff since they made these newer ones. That it was, sequel to that one and taking place after that and moving forward. There was no flashbacks in the other one, was there?
No. It was just, I think they had like recordings or some shit. The podcasters that he kills in the newer ones were like very, like they had recordings and shit, stuff like that. But this one, because they're bringing back Tommy Doyle, which was obviously the boy that she watches in the first one that she babysits. I guess that's where they're bringing back some flashbacks. Because I'm like, wasn't freaking Paul Rudd the Tommy Doyle at that one point of like the older ones? I'm like,
I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, shit's brought Paul back. I'm like, that would have been.
He would have done it.
He would have done it. No, but
he would have done it gladly.
He would have been happy about it. I just don't understand how they would do the flashbacks. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm fine with that. If they want to do callbacks, this is part 2 of 3. If that's how they want to connect it. Apparently, from what I've heard, it's Haddonfield. The people of the community of Haddonfield is finally going up against Michael Myers. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that could be cool or that could be terrible. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't understand the complaints of too much gore and too much kill. And it brings me to this point where I'm like, you get these critics and they're looking for like A24 movies. They're looking for Hereditary. They're looking for Midsummer. They're looking for like these artsy fucking horror movies, which I'm just like, if you went into that expecting that from a Michael, first of all, they suck. Number 2, it's Michael Myers. And it's like, I guarantee if there's an A24 logo that showed up before that, they would have been fucking jerking that movie off till the end of days.
Oh, yeah. And I don't, like you said, I don't get the whole artsy shit. Because it's not art shit. And you can throw as much weird cult like glitter all over it. I don't care. It's still a stupid movie. and I think people just try too hard too with all that stuff.
Yeah.
take what's like, and again, I'm like, it's already been played. It's already been done now. Everybody tried doing the cult stuff for a while, and it's over. Like, people are still in cults, but you just don't care.
Yeah.
You know, like
it doesn't draw the interest like it used to do, especially like with Midsummer. I'm like, okay, so it's a Coachella cult. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all it was.
Yeah, that's literally the brand of that entire movement. They're like, oh my god, it's fucking amazing.
It was like if Coachella or like EDC was just run by like Mormons. You're like, okay, I get it. I don't want to be here, but I get it. I get what you guys are doing.
Yeah, you get the mood that they're setting there.
And then out of nowhere, people start jumping off the mountains. Whatever, still,
you dress your boyfriend up like a bear and you burn him. I mean, I get it.
Terrible fucking movie.
That's
terrible
cinema
film.
for some people.
I will fight. Not really, but I will fight you if you try to argue with me and tell me that's a good movie. And I know there are people that will argue.
Oh, there's people that will. That one, I remember I watched it right when the pandemic started. So I'm locked down, just fucking bored out of my mind, man. I was literally angry watching that fucking movie. It made the lockdown worse. It made the pandemic worse for me because I'm just like, I'm here on a fucking, I think it was like a Saturday night watching this bullshit ass movie of this.
You forgot you were in the pandemic for a minute. Then once the movie started,
I was so angry, man. That and La Llorona were two of the movies I watched during the pandemic, and they pissed me to the fucking limit, man. They're just so. Those are movies
so
until this day. I can't fucking watch it, man. And I don't understand the amount of people that were just like, holy shit, this movie's fucking fantastic. It's a trip. Like, was it? Because every fucking thing they did was predictable as shit.
Yeah.
I checked out probably 20 minutes into the movie because I'm like, once her parents, they never went back to like the whole suicide thing with like her sister killing the parents and everything. That part, I was like, that's intriguing. Never go back to it. They just fucking went to this whole goddamn Coachella trip.
It's because her sister didn't get to go to Coachella. So she was like, you know what? No one gets to go.
If they would have explained it, I probably would give this movie a little bit more credit than it was because the beginning is fucking.
I forgot all about that. I blocked out that entire movie. At least I tried to.
That's the only part of the movie that I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting because it literally just starts with like her parents fucking dead and the sister killing herself, and I'm like, oh shit.
So that's why I vaguely remember even the sister part. We're the parents,
and it just went downhill with the rest of the fucking movie. Yeah, you never go back to that. You never get any closure or any fucking specific reason why that was connected. Same thing with like Hereditary. That's another one that was like, oh, we're trippy. And here's this fucking cult following that's like worshiping your fucking sister that wants to like adopt your body because she wants to be a fucking boy. It's like there's surgeries for that. I'm gonna get canceled. Yeah, but there's different ways. You have to go that deep end for fucking like that shit. Hereditary was way too fucking much.
It was just weird because I guess like to not save ourselves, we already dug the hole. Yeah. It just made it seem once again, oh, here's a movie that in the very end it was just one big fuck you to men.
Yeah.
Where you're like, even in the afterlife, our witch coven will take your body and fuck you. You're like,
your own mother will try to kill you.
Your own mother will say, I don't like you. I want your sister back.
She'll kill your father and then go after you. And then she'll saw her head off for no fucking reason. And then you'll get possessed by her.
Saw her head off?
Yeah, you remember that? That was probably one of the creepiest scenes of that movie.
That was like the ending part, huh?
Yeah, everybody mentions the girl's head getting knocked off on the thing. But there was that scene where like the mom's floating in that fucking that treehouse bullshit. And she has like that fucking string and she's just going like back and forth until her head drops. But she's like in the dark, so you can't really see it. That was probably one of the parts of that movie where I'm like, that's a cool shot. Wish it would have meant more in the grand scheme of it all. But I was like, that's a pretty decent shot to have in a horror movie. It just
the only shot that really like almost got me was once again in like the last 20 minutes when she starts going after the sun. And he's in his room and he like wakes up and same thing, it's all dark. You see her like in the shadow in the corner of like the ceiling. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I got total like Exorcist vibes. Yeah. And then the rest of the movie I was like,
that was that also the way they played with the shadow things too, because there's a lot of scenes where you see somebody there and she turns the lights on, it's not there. And I'm like, that plays into a lot of like realistic shit that people see. So I'm like, that's cool. But then all the other cult shit kind of ruined all of that shit because it's like you were just stuck to that. I think I would have appreciated the movie a little bit more, not the whole like her becoming possessed by that one neighbor bitch that was like trying to like get a hold of her and then connected to all the people naked in the goddamn like tree house, and they're all waiting for him to get possessed by the little girl. And I'm just like, where's the point?
This guy just thinks he's art because he always has like fucking people just drop trout, like treehouse or concert festival. Because he did that in that one too, and it was all like those people, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
This guy has obsession with like old people nudity, and I'm like, that's good for you, bro. It's like, I don't need it.
Tarantino's just weird. He likes feet, but
yeah,
it's weird for other reasons. But that's a big one.
That's his fetish. That's his lane.
He stays there.
He doesn't go too far above it. Just like, I like feet. It's like, good for you, man. Like, I don't gotta see a naked ass, the old naked ass.
Don't talk about it out loud, but whatever. And yeah, don't put old people just fucking all around. Put a kid in a bear costume.
That was another one. That was I don't know. That whole those R2 ones. That's what I mean. Like those critics have their lane and they like those movies, but then they get those critics to review these fucking slasher movies. Like most of them hated Malignant because they don't fucking get it. It's like, oh, this is original and blah blah blah. And it's like same thing with Halloween Kills. Everything that I've seen so far, it's like people are gonna like it. I think the fans will love it. The fact that it's gonna be on Peacock is kind of crazy. A Halloween movie that's already gonna be fucking streaming just sounds wild to me. I think that's good for people that don't want to go to the movie theaters, unless you have to. Yeah, it sucks. And I'm glad.
I'm gonna go. That's I just don't know what movie.
It's very fucking uncomfortable, man.
It was talked about for Halloween. I just don't know if I'm gonna. If they didn't announce right off the bat that it was gonna be on anything, Peacock, HBO, whatever, I probably would have been like, all right, that's gonna be the first one I go see.
Yeah,
because it's fitting and it makes sense. But it still wasn't one that it wasn't one that I had to go into a theater to see. But it like I said, October and everything, it made sense. Now, being screamed on Peacock, I'm like,
it makes it a lot easier.
Got a whole lot easier to just sit at home.
That's where I was at too, because I remember like I wanted to see Candyman, and then they were like, it's not on any streaming app. I'm like, fucking Universal, man, you own Peacock. Like, just put it. I'm like, whatever, fine.
I think that's the main reason. That's the main reason why I'm seeing it. Yeah, just because it's actually not on something.
Yeah, and that's where probably the next time I go will probably be Spider-Man, because I'm just like, that just seems like the movie worth. Like, I won't do it for Shang-Chi. Definitely not doing it for Internals. I don't think there's another movie coming out in the next few months that would be like, I have to go Spider-Man. I'm like, I kind of want to experience that with like a legitimate theater experience.
Cool. Definitely.
Talking about Spider-Man, and we'll end off the podcast with this. Venom, man. Venom Carnage, new movie coming out. They moved it back to October, I think the 10th or something like that. It was going to be released the same day as Halloween Kills. I think they finally realized that's a mistake. That's right. They're like, fuck that. Let's push the date back up. And apparently, for whatever fucking reason, they decided to show this movie to fans. I originally thought they were showing it to critics, but I guess not. And Tom Hardy, in a hilarious video, was like, whatever's shown here, in his Bane voice, is fucking shown here, and you don't go out and you don't tell anybody.
So much better.
You should have done it. It just don't tell anybody what happened to it, which gives you a big fucking warning that obviously something's going to happen in this movie that people are going to want to know. So obviously, if you're looking forward to the Venom movie, skip ahead. More than welcome to, if you don't want to be spoiled. But if you do want to be spoiled for Venom 2 in this new Carnage movie, well, let's stick around, because we're about to spoil it right here, right now. This is an exclusive. Allegedly, we could be wrong. This is from what I've heard from a bunch of people, and I know Ross, you've heard it too.
A lot of our news sometimes, guys, we always say it's speculated. People share with us. People that we hear it from, whatever.
Yeah. So this could be completely wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they could cut it out.
Could still not be in it. You don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
Not show up. I'm so pissed off. Either way, guys,
take it with a grain of salt. It's just something that's being reported by a lot of people for it to be like, So this is what happens. The movie ends. Obviously, I don't know the conclusion. That's the one thing I don't know. I don't know how the movie plays out. I haven't read complete details of how this movie completely plays. But the credit scene, the end credit scene of Venom 2 is already out. It's already over TikTok and Twitter and et cetera, et cetera. It's not hard to find. You're going to see people talking about this very soon, which I think it's just a fucking massive mistake once again by Sony. They don't know how to fucking keep a secret. They don't know how to keep their fucking mouth shut. This is where we're at this point. There's even a fucking Andrew Garfield. I don't know if you saw that fucking video of him as in his in the new fucking Spider-Man already. And I'm just like, come the fuck on, guys. I'm like that.
Because he's already said that's not real.
but it's like it looks so real not to be
I
real.
know.
It's like good for you for like fighting the fight, brother, but it's like it looks too legitimate. And I think somebody
if all in the end, more so on him than Toby, because Toby's just been quiet.
Yeah.
If they are in it, kudos to him for being like, so even if like people hear his interviews and are like, I don't believe him, he's still fighting so hard to be like,
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, he's like,
yeah,
people are going to be disappointed. Blah blah blah. It's like he's keeping the dream alive of being like, want people to be surprised, which I don't blame him. I mean, he hasn't been Spider-Man for a minute, and I think he's been like waiting for this to reprise the role, and for fucking shitty ass, grainy fucking footage to come out. It kind of kills like whatever feeling you're having of you want people's first time seeing you to be in the theater opening night. So I get his point of view of that. But here we go with fucking Venom, another fucking Sony blunder. So apparently in the described end credit scene, Eddie Brock is sitting down on the sofa. Venom, you could detach from him and talk at the same time. Me, myself, and Irene. They're watching TV, and in kind of in the background, you could hear J. Jonah Jameson, or I think it was Mysterio. I forgot which one it was, but they're saying.
I read that it was JJ.
Okay, cool. Because somebody on TikTok was like, no, it was Mysterio. When I'm trying, it doesn't matter. But it's like one of them mentions what we saw at the last Spider-Man, where they're like Peter Parker's Spider-Man, which was the end of the last Spider-Man movie. And I guess Venom looks at the screen and he's like, he looks tasty and licks the screen. The end. Which obviously means Venom is now going to be canon in the MCU. Now, is that connected with what happened in Loki? I don't know, because that would really suck if it's the whole variant. We get fucking that 70 show Venom back.
Oh shit, that'd be awesome.
Fucking
Eric Foreman is suiting up. But he's Agent Venom, so it's even still like far less believable.
That'd actually be pretty fucking dope if they would. I mean, because they're going the variant route. Why not fucking run it back with it? So, but with that ending, I'm like, okay, so that means I had previously thought that maybe Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man would go into that Venom universe. Depending on what happens with the new Spider-Man, I thought maybe that could be the way that they can keep him as a side Spider-Man, as their own Sony universe Spider-Man, and just have Tom Holland be his own MCU Spider-Man.
Absolutely, I think it could have been done if that was the route people actually planned and everything. But
it would have been. I think it would have been cooler, but at the same time, putting Venom into the MCU is, I guess, intriguing. It kind of makes sense now with them doing the fucking video game with Spider-Man 2 coming out in 2023. We have Venom showing up in that one. That should look fucking awesome. For all the PlayStation owners, we're fucking eating, man. Wolverine, Spider-Man 2.
PlayStation 5, man. Making them spend money.
Bro, Knights of the Old Republic. I marked March for fucking Knights of the Old Republic. That's fucking amazing. Either way, them bringing up Venom into the MCU just makes a lot of sense. It's one of those things where I'm like, it was a long time coming. But at the same time, like, I kind of wish they would have done Andrew. What were your thoughts when you heard about this end credit scene?
I'm not surprised. I knew eventually it would have to happen. I think it's the easiest route in case something still were to not happen, as far as who knows who pisses who off. Someone pisses someone off at Disney, So I think even though allegedly, and it could change up to that point, but they keep it right now that it is Tom Holland Spider-Man. I feel like, one, that was the easiest route to not have to have Tom film anything. So kudos to them on that. And two, if they were to have to change it, I feel like they can easily kind of run it back to just have that be another Spider-Man. And then that's, like you said, that's another version, not a variant. It's another fucking universe one, whatever the case may be. Again, I'm interested in seeing it. Maybe Venom could be better if he showed up with Spider-Man. Maybe that would be the final kind of key to the missing something. Maybe this movie is far better than the first one. It doesn't have that much to prove because I still think the first one was a piece of shit. But you got Woody Harrelson and you got Carnage. It's kind of one of those things. I'm not saying it's going to be an amazing movie. I'm just saying I have
for Venom standards.
I don't know. Maybe it might be worse. I don't know.
That would be such a fucking slap in the face if they just wasted Woody Harrelson's Carnage. Because that's one of the perfect casting.
Oh yeah, and if it's not a good movie and does have that ending, then even more so. I'm like, really? Now you're really just piggybacking off the good shit that's happening, and you guys really are.
And that kind of makes me
Original.
nervous about it. That the fact that that's in that movie. You know what I mean? I feel it's like, well, it's okay because guess what? Now he's here, and it's like, the
Yeah,
fuck, just make him good. Make those movies good. You got Carnage.
pretty much.
It's like,
Yeah,
and
I'm like,
now,
what?
and now I'm at the point where I'm like, I want to see Carnage, Venom, and Spider Man. If you're gonna go that route, it's like, why not just
Pretty
fucking wait?
much.
Just give him some fucking.
That's. I feel like in ending and in closing for today, let's hope that they just do not continue to go the route of Marvel movies, but just superhero movies. Let's hope they don't kill Carnage. Let's hope there's some way something happens where we do maybe get that. I don't know how. It's really easy not to fucking kill him,
Yeah,
but
they love
they
doing
don't
it.
know.
They
Yeah,
love killing
so because that would be the most, or leave it up in the air somehow, some way, just
Well, because
because, like,
I
okay,
think after this next Spider-Man movie, if you have to make another one, because this is the third one, then you have to make a fourth one, because I think Tom has one more movie on his contract. Wouldn't you just fucking do Maximum Carnage and just run it that and end that Spider-Man?
I mean, at that point, I would think best case scenario, if now they are planning something, who knows how this one goes. It's weird. It's weird, but it's good. It's like I hope everything works out, but it's also one of those things that all this could blow up in their faces.
Easily.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a weird. Again, it could be wrong. If it is wrong, then obviously we told you guys this could be speculation, but it's just a lot of people
told
talking
you.
about it. Yeah, but if it does happen, then holy shit, the internet's gonna fucking explode when that moment
Oh
plays.
yeah,
It's gonna be all over the place. And if it is true, then you go from there. I just hope the movie's good. I just hope that's not like their saving grace of like, well, at least they're going this route. And at the same time, don't kill Carnage. Woody Harrelson deserves it. Perfect casting. Just keep that shit
don't
going.
kill Woody.
Don't kill Woody.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it was just a terrible decision.
Hashtag don't kill Woody.
Keep the Woody up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Hollywood Uncensored podcast. I think the next time we're going to get together, we're going to be talking about some wrestling because obviously there's a shit ton of wrestling stuff going on in the wrestling world. A quick mention of Maximum Carnage, Gold Coast Federation, the wrestling company that your boy that we work for, is having a brand new show this upcoming Saturday. If you live in the Stanton, California or the Orange County, California area, tickets are still on sale. I'll leave a link in the description. If not, though, there's going to be a full live show link coming out, not this weekend, but the following. I'm going to be on commentary once again. So support your boy, support GCF. Links are all down below. It has been a pleasure. Rossi, as always, we will talk soon. Excited to talk about NXT 2.0?
Oh shit! No, that's cut.
That's cut right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys later on.